Hey guys, before this video really starts, I want to put in a little disclaimer here. I am not a sound designer, and most of what you see on this channel is just me experimenting with the different areas of filmmaking. So this isn't meant to be professional, per se, and there's not really a lot of snappy editing, and that's mostly because this was a long project. It was 4 or 5 days long, actually. But that's mostly because I procrastinated a lot, so there's that. Regardless, I wanted to share this experience with you in a mostly raw form. However, I still wanted to compress it enough to not lose your interest. The result is that it's a pretty long video, but it helps you to see kind of what the process was for me in a better light. Another thing I wanted to mention is that since I'm going to college in just a few days from now, I've been trying to gather all my film equipment into one space, which you can see behind me here. And because of that, my room is actually a bit all over the place, pretty messy. So I just want to take a second before we start to apologize for that, and just kind of, just tell you to not mind it. Just ignore it, please. I'm sorry. With that said, I feel like I've taken more than enough time already, so let's get the video started. Yeah. It's just occurred to me right now what a strange background I have. This is what happens whenever that's the only thing that's not on camera. Show everything on the desk. Hi! Today we're going to be doing a little behind the scenes of the last video that I put out. Which is kind of weird because I haven't made it yet. So the whole sort of theme behind this video is that actually all of the sounds that you hear in it are custom made. Barring the owl noise that I'm planning on using, it's all gonna be stuff that I've put together, whether it be, breaking a piece of bread or a stick of celery, that's what this is gonna be. So all the sound effects in this video are going to be custom, which is something that I usually don't do. But I'm just gonna hop right into this process, and I'm actually gonna record the first version of this with full audio and just get the clip out of the way, and then we'll worry about the sound effects and editing after that. Got myself a nice little script here, so I know what I'm reading out. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Owl here. This is Owl Plays MC, episode 10, and let's go. Mining. Diamonds! Alright, there we go. That's the clip. Okay. So now that we've got the clip, we're gonna go ahead and watch it back, and we're gonna pay real close attention to the bottom right corner, because all of those things are the sound effects that I need to put in. So I gave myself a little cheat sheet while also giving the audience a reason to figure out what's going on. So you can see, oh, all these sound effects are playing. And as I noticed whenever I was recording this, there's this section that just has a massive, just half the screen is filled with sound effects, and this is going to be so much harder than I first thought it was. I'd like to point out, look at this bottom corner of all of the sound effects that I have to make for 1 second. I don't know how people do this professionally, but I guess that's why I'm doing this. So. Okay, this is gonna be fun. So now we've dragged the clip that we want to use into DaVinci Resolve. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is find the spot in the clip where I decide to actually start doing things, which is indicated by this spike because I made a loud clap sound, which means that that's where the clip starts and I can get rid of all this other useless stuff. So now we have the start and finish of the clip, move it to the start of our timeline, and now what I'm going to go ahead and do is take the parts of this that I actually spoke the words in, and I'm going to put some subtitles there. And then once I have the subtitles, I'll get rid of the existing audio, and we'll replace it with the owl sounds. So I'm just going to put on some music, and I'm going to do this, I guess.
Run.
So now that I have the text bars in, I can get rid of this little background noise because none of it's important. Because instead what we're doing is taking these owl sounds that I totally didn't steal off YouTube, and we're going to be using these to fill in. You might have noticed that as I was going through this, I just kind of partially left something that is kind of important out of my care, and that was after 2 text boxes, the rest of them are now in the middle of the screen. So what I'm going to do is just take a quick second to come back to that and find out what this position was, which for this says the Y is 285. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is go around to each of these and set it to that. Now all our text is in the right spots. It's got a nice custom color and font, and they're all level, so I think this is pretty good. Now we can start to bring in the owl sounds. This in particular looks like a good Owl Plays Minecraft one, so if I can find where that is and bring that over here, we can try to line it up and get it sounding perfect. Cut out this little bit of space in between. Let's give it a listen. Seems to work pretty good. So here's a good double hoot. What we can do with that is chop this out, and this will be the intro. Hey guys. Should fit perfectly too. Perfect. I think over here, here, this part. That's good for the follow-up owl here. Get a little more centered. Looking good. We need one more double hoot over here, and then another double hoot. Whenever I chose the dialogue for this, I paid close attention to make sure it was pretty centered around 2 or 3 words at max, so that way I could get the double hoot action going. This is going to be our let's go. It's nice and tiny there. It'll fit in perfectly. Or mining time. It's a very good alternative. Maybe just episode 10. Kind of like that. Let's go in mining time. Those two are going to be a bit difficult. We'll give it a shot. If there's a better one, we'll use that. All right, let's tweak some of this. And now, for some comedy, we'll take one of these. See if I can amp this. So now I'm going to attach this clip right here, which I got and thought was cool. I messed with it a bit before this, and it's kind of the inspiration for why I wanted to make this video entirely. So, owls have 360 head spins. I thought, what happens if you speed it up? So, here's what we're going to do. We'll get rid of this last bit. Actually, we'll pull it to the side for now. There we go. That looks pretty good. So let's give it another watch. looks pretty good. Now, even though it's been just a quick second for you, it's been a couple days for me. Now, a day before I recorded what you just saw, I went out to the store and bought some cool little ingredients. And one of them is this here baguette. Now, you might wonder what food has to do with the video that you're watching. Well, the whole gimmick of this is that we're making the sound effects. So, we're going to use some food, break it apart, and use the sound from that through Audacity to create all the sound effects in the video. Nothing like biting into a 4-day-old bread after you've torn it up. Carrot time. Of course there's a hole in the bag. That went wonderfully. Out of all the materials that I had, I was able to get 10 out of each one, 10 different audio samples. And for the celery, I got a bonus 3 on top of that. So I got 10 bread, 10 carrot, and 13 celery. And the celery was absolutely wonderful. So I'm pretty happy with it. That was weird. Now that I no longer have any celery on my hands and my mouth doesn't taste like dirty carrot, we can begin to use these new sounds in combination to make our final project work. Now, I have already a few favorites, so I'm going to bring those in and we're going to try to use them. Now that we have all of these in order, I'm starting to think that this is what our final sound is going to be. It's a little brutal, but that's kind of the point. So let's plug it in and see what happens. Alright, let's see how this lines up. Ooh. Little off. You can mess with it. First we want it to start when the head turn starts. I guess a little after the head turn starts. It's ideal. Let's see what happens if we cut this and take off the end. Okay, that's not that bad actually. So what I can do is delete that, and we can get rid of that right there. And let's give this a look. I think that works. Now it's time for us to do the audio effects that show up in the corner here. And the first one we have to pull off is Lava Pop. And the trick with this is that it gives a direction. So it shows that the Lava Pop is coming from this way. But it doesn't need to last that long. It just needs to come from the left. Now, luckily our carrots are quick and snappy, and that could do for a Lava Pop. So let's try it with a carrot. Now, after a little bit of messing around, I found something rather interesting. If I remove the top part of the carrot snap and I use bread 2, I can create what sounds like a fire spark. Bread 9, of course, is able to provide that little end trail bit, which is very lava pop-like. So what I'm thinking we do now is move this to the left as well and see what happens. Sounds pretty good to me. Let's throw it in. Now it's a bit loud, so we'll turn it down just a tad and see if we can get this in. There we go. There's a nice subtle lava pop there. So if you don't know what you're looking for, it might just sound like something in the background. Footsteps. Those are going to be interesting. We might have to skip over those. Let's see if I can find one I like better. This is our big problem here. We got more lava pops, but those are ahead. So what we can do then is reapply the lava pop, but without the direction. Wonderful. Lava pop 2 now up. Progress. I was going to do something else, but then I accidentally discovered that this was a thing. So, I guess now we're gonna have to make our mining noise over here out of that. So listening back through these sound files from earlier, I accidentally did this thud noise. And the result is that my microphone shook a bit, which leaves this little trail, and we can use that trail to our advantage for one particular sound, this here eerie noise. Now we get the thud down here, perfect, and we can move to just about there. The result will be that after the thud is removed, we have the eerie sound. Given just a little bit of a alteration. There we go. Wonderful. So despite the fact that this is actually seemingly perfect, these here are the footsteps using bread 3 and bread 8. One skewed to the left and one skewed to the right just slightly. When I put it into DaVinci, something about it seems off. Despite the fact that, technically speaking, the sounds correlate to the foot movements, something is wrong. It feels like in this step there shouldn't be a step. But technically there should be. Weird. So it's been another few days since the last clip that you saw there, but I've gone ahead and finished this project up, and I've been working on this behind the scenes video. So I thought it would be a good time to kind of go through and check out all the stuff that I did that I didn't show on camera for the sake of saving time. At the bottom here, I noticed that the owl sounds had this water in the background whenever you listen to them. So what I went ahead and did was search through all the spots where there weren't owl sounds and it was just this running water. So I went ahead and took that and I used it in our background to create that little water noise that you see like there and everywhere else. And there's this little back segment here where I drop the volume down so that it emphasizes the distance from the computer to said owl. Kind of ties it in a bit more. Right here we have the witch giggles, which, yeah, those were weird to film, but I have them toned down a little bit so they're in the background and you can hear them if you listen. I kind of forget what some of these other things are because it's been a while, but I do know that this section is just filled with a whole bunch of stuff. I use this bread 3, I believe it is. It might be 8. But right here I use it to indicate the block placement. And kind of reminds me of the old Minecraft sounds, so I thought it's nice. And what else? What else do I need to cover? The XP, that was the glass, and yeah, I had to custom make the mining noise, which I'm pretty sure I already talked about. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. If you're interested in any other behind the scenes stuff, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'd love to talk more about this. And if you want to see some other behind the scenes videos on, the channel and stuff like that, let me know.